What up, player profiler faithful? It's Matty Kiwoom, and this is Season 3, Episode 1, the dang premiere of The Game Plan. Today, I have a very, very special episode. We're talking 2024 rookie class, and I'm bringing on one of my true brothers, not even in the space, in life. So you're going to stick around, get ready, get out your pens, get out your pads, and let's start game planning to dominate our Dynasty leagues. My guest today is my partner in crime over at the Fantasy Football Executives YouTube page and Patreon. He is the draft analyst over at RosterWatch. He is, like I said, one of my best friends in the space and now in life because I talk to him way too much. I'm talking about Mr. Cody Carpentier. Cody! What up, friend?
What's up, best friend? How we doing?
Oh, you heard that little best friend talk here. A little nicey talk. I mean, I do talk to you a ton. I mean, we were supposed to start this show about a half hour ago, but we started talking about your mock 4.0. So why don't you take this second to tell the people checking out the game plan, what you got cooking over at RosterWatch and what just dropped?
Yeah, just got cooked up a little 4-round mock draft 4.0. As we've been going through the process, this is how I do mocks. 1.0 is 1 round, 2.0 is 2 rounds, and so on and so forth till we get through 7 right before the NFL draft. So mock 4.0 is up over at rosterwatch.com. Spicy news. The Bears make 2 consecutive picks to start that draft. I do have a couple of trades in there. But the Bears, if you're a Bears fan, you should probably go over there and check that thing out. It's free. Just go to rosterwatch.com. It'll be right there on the front page. Drop a comment and tell me how bad I am at this mock draft game if you'd like, and we can chat about it. But everything else over at rosterwatch.com. Also, like Matty said, the Executives of Fantasy Football on YouTube and on Patreon.
Let's get it. Patreon.com/executives. Today, Cody, we're talking 2024 rookie sleepers. We got 5 guys that you want to bring up, 5 guys we're going to dig deep into, 5 guys that we're going to get the game planners ready to rock and roll, ready to dominate their rookie drafts. So let's just dive right into it. What's the first player on your sleeper list here?
I think we'll start out cold and we'll get hot.
I like that.
I like so guys that I think this is going to be my perception of this could be wrong too. This is my perception of their heat level to the common man in the space.
The common gamer, the common planner. Gamer.
So Javon Baker, first and foremost, the wide receiver out of Central Florida, the perfect wide receiver. Like, this is exactly what I want. And again, when I say perfect, I'm not saying he's better than Malik Neighbors and shit like that. I'm saying the perfect receiver as in, like, this is the archetype that I want if I'm building an NFL football team. 6'1", 208, elite route runner, in the 4.50 area, plays like a Diggs, plays like a Rashee Rice somewhere in there. He was at Alabama for 2 years, didn't do anything, played with everybody. Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle, Jameson, Isaiah Bond, Jermaine Burton, you name it. He played with them.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, they're not giving me the opportunities. So he packed his shit. He went to Central Florida, went to Orlando, all Big 12 first-team wide receiver this year. He's a dog. I said this earlier on different shows. He's early in the clubhouse to be the dog of the year, like Trey Palmer was last year. He averaged 7.2 yards after catch per yards after catch per reception last year, which was 19th in Division I. Great body control, great catch radius, just an all-around elite footwork football player. 49 out of 52 receptions this past year for touchdowns and first downs. He's top-notch. And to 95% of X, he's not even known at this point. Shout out to Fusu Vu. He's another one of my colleagues in this Javon Baker conversation, as we're
contemporaries.
Two of very few that have him, let alone top 5, top 10 in the class right now.
So from year to year, for 2 years ago, he was about right around a 2 yards per out run. This year, I mean, that's skyrocketed. Top 10 in the nation, over
Yeah.
3.21. What do you attribute to kind of that boom, and not just the production, because we can attribute that to just development, getting used to the offense. You know, he did transfer, all that stuff. But what do you attribute to his really his real propulsion in terms of his analytical profile?
I think just the connection with John Rice Plumlee. Like, he was good last year, but like you said, everything just extrapolated up, where his yards per reception jumped 7 yards in itself this year. I think having another receiver with him and having a running game help. Kobe Hudson's a pretty good wide receiver at Central Florida, and I think they also had a good running game. So I think really just everything comes together. Another year with Gus Malzahn as the head coach, and it just kind of catapulted into that situation, being the Big 12. All those things kind of came together and allowed him to succeed. Again, he was a well respected prospect coming out of high school as a 4-star prospect in 2020.
Right.
He's actually on the Kentucky campus for like maybe, I don't know, 48, 72, 96 hours, something like that. He went to Kentucky with Barry on Brown, and paperwork fell through or whatever happened. He didn't end up going to Kentucky, and he would have been playing with Will Levis last year. But that didn't happen. And then he went to Central Florida instead. So very good receiver.
I'm going to get a 2-part question. One, what would be, give me a couple of ideal landing spots, and then where are you taking him, or where are you okay selecting him in a rookie draft?
So first off, ideal landing spots. My mock draft 4.0, I'll just kind of point right at that one. I put him, he went 99th overall to the Buffalo Bills. I talked about Diggs in that conversation. I think he's a similar prospect to Diggs coming out of college. Again, people are like, whoa. Diggs was a 4 or 5-star prospect coming out of Maryland, had a leg injury in college. And I don't want to say he was in the same career path as Baker, because he stayed at Maryland the whole time, got injured, whatever. Baker left Bama, went to UCF. They're just similar prospects, in my opinion. So I think somewhere round 3, round 4 in the NFL draft, Buffalo is probably one of my favorite spots. I think Cincinnati would be interesting depending on what they do at the wide receiver position. And then for fantasy football, I do feel like you're probably looking in that round 3 area. People are not going to respect him. I'm trying to pull up the mock draft data that I have right now from a couple of mocks, and I don't think he was drafted in the first 2 rounds of one. And in the other one, he was drafted in, what did I take him here? Round 3? I don't even know if I got him in round 3, did I? I think he went 302. So it's kind of the area you're looking at. You're looking at that round 3, and this is, again, super flex drafts where you're seeing Baker go off. So I'm going to draft him a bunch. 206, that was the number. 206 and 302. That was like kind of the range that he's going off the board in right now. So depending on people in your league knowing who he is, also where he goes in the NFL draft, if he's a 4th-round pick, it's probably going to suppress him a little bit more. But if he does get into the early 3rd part, which is I think the whole range is early 3rd to middle 4th round NFL draft pick, that's really going to kind of point you to your direction.
You were right on Jaden Reed last year. I think you might be right here, Javon Baker. Where do you have him in your ranks?
I just put up, I don't have my fantasy football rankings finalized yet, but as far as my NFL draft rankings, this is another article I put up on Monday over at rosterwatch.com. You can go get this too. It's free. Cody's top 25, 2024 NFL draft wide receiver rankings. Javon Baker is wide receiver 5.
Woo! A spicy meatball.
Little hot, right? Have him right between Trey Franklin and Xavier Worthy.
This is the time to get spicy, because we're a week or so away from the combine. We're about to get some solid numbers, some concrete evidence of athleticism and ability. So now's the time to start planting some flags on some prospects. I got him at 13, but I do have him in a tier that could propel him inside the top 10. So I am absolutely chasing him at the end of the 2nd or into the 3rd in my rookie draft. So that's a good guy you bring up. Javon Baker, 6 feet, coming out of UCF, wide receiver. We're very, very excited. Stick around, because we're only going to get hotter with these prospects. We're only going to get better with these sleepers. So now we were going to go ahead and hear from our sponsor, and we'll be right back.
Now, I know many of you are looking for a secret weapon for your Dynasty League, and I have it. It's called the Dynasty Dominator app. You go to the App Store, go to Google Play. It's right there. It's $5 to download, and then every year it's $5 to load the next incoming class of rookies. You can add Superflex, add tight end premium. It's incredible because it allows you to look up players. It allows you to vote on whether a player is a buy, hold, or sell, and then see the market sentiment on that player. And you can compare their lifetime value rating from Player Profiler to their Dynasty ADP at the FFPC, all in the price lookup tool. And beyond that, we have a trade analyzer, so you'll never lose another Dynasty trade again. And in our settings, you can set this is a win now team, this is a rebuilding team, and then we let you compare players. Look at their metrics side by side, prospect metrics, NFL metrics. It's all there. It's $5 in the App Store. There's some add-ons for Superflex and to buy the upcoming rookie class. Every year, you're going to spend $5 on this thing, and it's going to be well worth it.
Matty Kiwoom, Cody Carpentier, The Game Plan, Season 3, Episode 1, folks. We're talking about 2024 rookie sleepers. Cody, who's number 2 on your list?
Jalen Polk out of Washington. Not the guy. Some people don't even think he's the other guy. He's the third guy in most conversations outside of Rome Odunze and Jalen McMillan. Jalen Polk, for me, got him ranked ahead of Jalen McMillan at in the NFL draft here. 6'2", 204 pounds. I think he's going to run sub 4.5. My comp for him is Adam Thielen, and he can do it downfield. He averaged almost 17 yards per reception. He can do it downfield, but I think he works best between the 5 and 15-yard markers from the line of scrimmage. He started out his career at Texas Tech. Then he went to Washington. The rest is history. 45 out of 69 receptions this year. Went for first downs. Finished with 4+ receptions or 100 yards. And not 1, not 2, not 3, but every game this year. He's going to be a consistent guy that's going to get the ball. And on top of that, he's good off the field as well. He won the Husky Fever 12th Man of the Year award in 2021, his first year on campus.
Beast. Jalen Polk, I think he might be one of the prime candidates to get serious helium because of the size, 6'2", to over 200 pounds. If he runs well, I could see that getting a little bit of excitement. When I look at his profile, though, I do see a guy that can run routes inside and outside. He can play in the slot and out wide. Is that something you think translates to the NFL? I mean, Adam Thielen's a comp, so I'm assuming you do, but if you want to touch a little bit more about that.
100%. I literally, one of the comments I made was I literally wrote, he's insufferably smooth at the catch point with contortion ability. He's got strong hands. I think he consistently finds those soft spots in defenses. He's a quarterback-friendly receiver. Occasionally he'll struggle with the concentration drop, and he's not a mega separator, but that's part of not being a mega separator, maybe downfield, is that you can find those spots around the line of scrimmage and create space for yourself. And, you know, when you create that camaraderie with the quarterback, you saw it with Adam Thielen in Minnesota, whether he was with Teddy early on or whether it was Case Keenum or whether it was Kirk Cousins. That connection was always there because he's a quarterback-friendly receiver. And I think that's something you'll see out of Polk. There was also some comments we got from a source close to the Washington team that said Rome wasn't the alpha of the room. The alpha of the room was Polk, which is like,
that's big.
What? So that was a source. That was a thing we got down at the Senior Bowl. But Alex and I heard that and we were just like, what? Rome's not the alpha? Jalen Polk's the alpha? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But I think it's more so the way I broke that down was the numbers tell you one thing, of course, but maybe like the leader of the room was Polk, which is another telling thing when you just stack these things on top of itself. His consistency, winning that 12th Man of the Year award, being the team player, all these things stack, and those are just check in NFL draft rooms.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just another part of the profile, another piece of the puzzle that we're putting together on this prospect. One of my favorite landing spots for him, I think, would be Houston. I could see him falling there in the third, second round, depending on where his prospect profile lands. What's some of your favorite landing spots and where you grabbing them in rookie drafts?
I put him in the New Orleans Saints in round 3. There's no Michael Thomas. He's likely departed. They tried it one more year, didn't work. So I think Polk playing with Olave and Rashid Shaheed would be pretty dirty. I think you brought up Houston. I put Jalen McMillan in Houston. So I think, of course, that's another opportunity for him to go in there and play with Tank and Nico. There's a multitude of spots for a guy like Polk that he can play inside and outside. So really, I'm cool with either one. When you talk about fantasy drafts, I think it's the same exact conversation you're going to be having about Javon Baker. It's kind of landing spot dependent, draft capital dependent, but I think it's a guy that's going to be talked about in that 210 to 3.6 area for your fantasy drafts. And that's going to give me the trust that if I say I have the third overall pick in my rookie draft, Caleb's gone, Marvin's gone. Okay, I'm going quarterback. I'm taking Daniels. I'm taking May, whatever. Cool. I know when I come back at the 203, there's a multitude of running backs that are going to be available, probably mostly all of them.
Right.
So I know I can take a running back there. And then I know in round 3, one of Javon Baker or Jalen Polk's going to be there. So hitting the 3 main positions, then of course you can, if you want to fucking draft tight end, you can draft a tight end later, the 4th or 5th. But knowing that you can hit on talents like, say you're at the 103, like I said, you hit Jaden Daniels, you hit Braylon Allen, you hit Jalen Polk. I'm walking out pretty happy in my fantasy draft.
Right. Yeah, and that's we in our latest fantasy cast, future cast, he went 308 in that draft. So right in about the range that you're talking about. Perfect time to grab him. One of the criticisms you hear about Polk is that his 1,100 receiving yards was inflated due to the offense and the quarterback. But I think he is one of those guys who benefits so much from the depth of this position in this class because he can go in rounds 3 or round 2 or round 4. Anywhere in that range, he could go at the end of the draft. And who's at the end of the draft, Cody? Good quarterbacks, good offenses.
Bingo.
Insert an alpha into one of those teams. I think the stars are aligning for a guy like Jalen Polk to be a darling when we get to the draft process. But right now, he's undoubtedly a sleeper. I actually have him ranked at wide receiver 18, but he's in the tier that he could jump a number of guys and find his way into my even top 12. Where do you have him ranked right now?
Paul, again, I'm bringing up 2 guys today. These are the leading 2 that I'm very high on. In comparison to the rest of the group. And you can go check out that top 25 ranking over there. Again, that is NFL draft driven. If I'm drafting a football team, that's why. And you're hearing some of those reasons in this conversation right now, how important I think a Baker and a Polk are to NFL teams, coupled with they land in the right spot, a guy that can just bang out 110 targets, 85 receptions year after year is sick value in fantasy football. But the NFL, I have Baker 5, Worthy is at 6, Jalen Polk is at 7. Literally a guy hit 108 targets this last year playing with a Dunze, with a banged up McMillan, 15th in the country in targets, averaged 17 yards per reception. Again, that's not his play style to play downfield. I think he's best suited in between, but he can go deep. And he was top 40 in yards after catch. So it's just a guy that I think he brings a lot to the table. There's not many boxes he doesn't check,
including being an alpha in the room. We love that. Next guy on your list, Cody. Who is it? Tell me.
Next guy on the list. The next guy's on the list. We're going to continue at the wide receiver position. This is the last receiver I have here. That's Mr. Tahj Washington from USC, guy that transferred from Memphis just a few years ago. He's 5'10", 175, so he fits that 2023 NFL draft archetype. Smaller guy, smaller features, sub 70-inch wingspan, 8 1/4-inch hands, sub 29-inch arms, very shallow when you're talking about his length. Very comparable to a Josh Downs. Downs, I don't want to say he's a little more squatty, but he had more legs to him, more girth to his legs. I think Washington's going to run that 4.41, 4.43 area. He broke out as a redshirt freshman, 19 years old. 3-star prospect out of Memphis, or goes to Memphis, then transfers to USC. I love me some Tahj Washington. He just gets the job done everywhere he goes. And we've talked about this on the hurdle before and a multitude of shows, the rubber ligament syndrome, which is the Tyreek Hill conversation. This guy has, again, not Tyreek Hill, but he has the rubber ligament syndrome where he can just do things that 95% of players can't do. Where you might see a guy like an Adam Thielen catch a comeback route and have to take like 4 steps to turn upfield, where these guys do it simultaneously, and it doesn't make any sense conceptually in your brain, but that's just how they work. And I think Tahj Washington is just going to be a straight up winner at the NFL level. And he played 88% of his snaps in the slot, which is fine. He's not a Kelvin Austin. Calvin Austin, also from Memphis. He's not a Calvin Austin. I think he's more of a dynamic player downfield, but Tahj Washington's one that was the Shrine Bowl, impressed me quite a bit.
So you talk about the Shrine Bowl, and I'm looking at his analytical profile, and I'm seeing him. He's part of the 503 club. He is 500 yards after catch and over 3 yards per route run. Very, very good indicators of future success. You saw him live at the East-West Shrine Bowl. Did the talent and did the player that you saw on the field look like someone who can pop at the next level in those key metrics?
Yeah, it's so those events make it the playing field more easy and more digestible to see if a guy's a separator. Like, oh, he's lined up next to, Bob from South Dakota State, or this other guy from
yellow cheddar Bob.
No, I know. So there's actually 2 really good receivers from South Dakota State, so I shouldn't even use South Dakota State. But my point is more so it's like there's dudes from South Dakota State, there's dudes from Holy Cross, there's dudes from USC. Like it's all of this, right? And one of the guys, and that's the great ability at the Shrine Bowl, is you get to go down on the field and, be 4 feet from these guys, be right up next to them and feel their power, feel the energy they run with, feel the route running. It's a little bit different than even the Senior Bowl. But I think Tahj is one that just watching him run routes, he runs almost like, this is weird. This is just more of a scouting thought than anything, is when you're watching him run the routes and participate 7-on-7 and team, he does seem like he has kind of a glow, but it's not a glow like a Tank Dell or like a Julio Jones, like he's like that much better than everybody. It's more like a glow, like this guy's got like a spark, or he's got like a bolt of lightning inside of him. And it's the same when you're on the field next to him. He's very small. Like I said, he's like 5'10", 175, 180. But he's just got this fuck it. He's got this like Antonio Brown moxie, this Stephon Diggs moxie. Like he's got this energy when he's got those pads and that helmet on of his play style. And that rubbed off on me very much. And don't do that, because it's not the comp. I'm not comping him.
You just got him to go up 3 spots in my rankings, making that comp because AB. I hear AB in my brain goes, wow.
It's the moxie, right? And again, people say, oh, AB, no. It's the moxie at which he plays. When you saw AB on the field, you just knew that dude over there. You could look down, you could look 80 yards across the field, and you knew that dude right there. That motherfucker's got a bolt of lightning coming out of his ass. And that's just the way it is sometimes with some of these guys. And that's Tahj Washington just gives off that big energy. And I think he's going to succeed at the next level.
Oh, all right, Tahj Washington. He's on my radar. I got him right now at wide receiver 20, but after that, he's probably going to go up to my wide receiver 5 AB comp. I'm going to take that all during. Just kidding. Where do you have him in your rank, and where should we be looking to target Tahj Washington in our rookie draft?
The funny thing is I actually don't have him that dramatically high, and I think his ranking is more of a subject to his projected draft capital and his body type and my worry of an opportunity. The Tank Dell thing, he skated differently. His routes were X better than what Tahj puts out there on tape and on the field. So Tank is a lot easier to rank like in the top 10. Yeah. Tahj I put at 16. Okay. Play with Drake London, play with Jordan Addison, play with Brendan Rice this year, crested 1,000 yards this year. Number 1 in the country in yards per route run on deep throws, which is 20-plus yards downfield, 39.73, 8 higher than the next best, which was Brian Thomas, who led the country in touchdowns. Hyper dynamic. I put him at wide receiver 16. It's about where I feel good about it. Yeah. Like I feel like I put him up to, I could put him up to 13. I could put him up to 12, but like I love him at 16. I also love dudes that are 5 spots below him. So I don't want the 16 number to be taken like, oh, this guy's shit. Like there's let me look here. There's so wide receiver 25, we're not even going to talk about him today. I'll just say it. Isaiah Williams. Zach Kruger tweeted at me and he's like, hey, Isaiah Williams. And I was like, I love me some Isaiah Williams. Oh, there's another Shrine Bowl guy. He's my wide receiver 25. Ryan Flournoy, Senior Bowl.
Yep.
Small school kid, D2, Southeast Missouri State, 24. Love him. Jamari Thrash, think he can make it, 23. Love it. Ricky Pearsall, we talked about him before the show. I think he goes 88 to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Dialed in. Like, you could just name him. This class is very fucking
Crazy.
good, dude.
Yeah.
Very good. So I don't want that 16 number to be taken any type of way about Tahj Washington because I'm a big, big fan.
I'm glad you bring him up specifically because I think what he can provide teams is flexibility in how they game plan for their draft. So if you like the Tahj Washingtons, you like these guys that will be there probably in the 4th round of your rookie draft, that gives you a ton of flexibility to be okay skipping running back in round 2 to get one in round 3, or if you need it, double tapping running back in rounds 2 and round 3, allowing you to still get some upside at the wide receiver position in 4, because in my opinion, and I'd like to get your opinion on this too, I can look as high as my wide receiver 15 in this class, 12 if I'm getting a little crazy, and think they could be a roster clogger in a year. So if I can avoid that grouping, double tap running back, but grab Washington in rounds 4 or at the end of round 3 if you have multiple picks, what have you, I think that's where the real value lies, and I think that's the real value of diving this deep at the very deep position, because then it allows people to be okay, to be relaxed in those when they're in the pocket in rounds 2 and 3, because we love the running backs that'll be there in 2 and 3. So be perfectly okay jumping in to the mix for rounds 4 with Tahj Washington. But that's enough of wide receivers, Cody. Enough of it. I need to hear some ball carriers. Let's talk about some running back sleepers. Who is the first guy on your list here that we're going to talk about the running back position?
So I got 2 guys here at the running back position to talk about. First and foremost, I want to start out with Michael Wiley, a guy that was down there at the Senior Bowl. He was a late add. Wiley comes in 5'10 and a half, 209. 209 is very interesting because the day we got there, he was fresh on the roster. We hadn't seen heights and weights yet. We got back after day 1, and the conversation in the car, if you would have been there, you would have known. 70% of the conversation was, how big is this guy? What is this running back? Because he was of course, everyone's like, Marshawn Lloyd was, drool fest. But Michael Wiley was like, what is this guy? He everything's there. Is he 193, 195? We get back, 209. And we're just like, let's fucking like that. That's like that excitement is like, whoa, like we got another guy. We got this running back class is what this running back class is for a reason. And we got another guy. We got another guy you could plug in here. So I'm excited about Michael Wiley. We didn't get to see a ton of him over his course at Arizona. Never really got the bulk of the carries. 113 carries in 2022 was his most. 36 receptions that year. He's had 123 receptions in his career at Arizona in 5 seasons and averaged 9 yards per reception. He's got, a lot of tread on the tires, 459 career touches, 336 career carries. This is a guy that probably goes in, round 6 of the NFL draft, potentially gets in the late part of round 5 and finds a home. And for your fantasy drafts, you're going to just keep an eyeball on the draft pick. Where does he go? Is he potentially the number 2 in Kansas City? Is he plugged in as the 3rd guy in Minnesota behind Madison and Chandler? And then you can see Madison departing at the end of the year, and it's Chandler Wiley, and then Wiley becoming a better back in the receiving game than Chandler. Things of that nature. Right. You have to just track this. The expectation is not of Wiley to come in and just be like a world beater in year 1. If that happens, shit. But unlikely, right? I think Wiley's a very interesting prospect, however.
He looked like he missed some games in the middle of the season, but what do you contribute to his lack of giving this kid the rock and letting him truly be highlighted on a team that really ascended into the college football landscape, the University of Arizona Wildcats, especially in 2022, where he got a 93.2 run grade on PFF. So this kid's talented. What would you attribute his lack of usage in 2023?
They just have had a ton of guys there. DJ Williams and Jonah Coleman have been there, as well as having a quarterback that takes 70 carries off the top. Yeah, just having, he's averaging 6.8 yards per carry last year. Like, that's hyper efficient. And I don't want to compare their situation to that of Georgia, but Georgia has been known to say, hey, come here. You're going to get the opportunities. You're going to be a savage. You're going to put good run on tape, and you're going to get to the league. Not comparing that to Arizona at all, but what I'm saying is they do got 3 dudes here that are taking big chunks, 70 carries, 85, 128 across, plus a quarterback that comes in and takes, 70 carries off the rip. So I think that can definitely be attributed to that. But the opportunity, and that's why the Senior Bowl exists, is because they find dudes like this that, the NFL wants or that didn't get the proper shine.
Exactly. We got to see these kids play, and you got to see them play in good competition. Fluid was a term I remember hearing you say down in Mobile in your recap shows, in the passing game and in the running game. I mean, he looks good, looks the part, has the frame. Give me a rough comp, and then go ahead and tell us where is he kind of settling in your rankings? Because I think, this guy, we're looking at a 4th round pick, a 3rd round pick in rookie drafts. We're not going to be reaching on him, but give us a soft comp and give us kind of where he falls in your rankings.
Yeah, you're looking 4th, 5th round in fantasy drafts. I don't think you're going to be worrying about him in round 3 unless that draft capital's polar opposite of what we're expecting. Right. Comp conversation is centered around Senior Bowl guys, just because that's where we were at when the setting happened, and that's kind of what the nature of the game is. But our conversation was, this is a similar conversation we had about Tank Dell last year, was, is he going to be Kevontae Turpin or is he going to be Hollywood Brown? That was the conversation with Tank Dell. You saw what happened. The conversation with Michael Wiley was, is he going to be Eric Gray or is he going to be Rachaad White? And the thing about Eric Gray was Eric Gray had everything. Eric Gray had a 1,300-yard season at Oklahoma. He had the softest hands, quite literally shaking his hand. They were the softest hands, as well as in the receiving game. And he brought a lot to the table. But Rachaad White was like Wiley, where he was just efficient in everything. And the Senior Bowl wasn't like eye-popping in the receiving game. I saw that shit on tape. I saw the patience on tape more than I saw at the Senior Bowl. Wiley he was as efficient and as smooth as both of those guys at the Senior Bowl this year. So somewhere in that Eric Gray to Rachaad White conversation. And then as far as this year's rankings, this running back class is a cluster something. And Michael Wiley, I put it running back 11. I got Ray Davis 10, Michael Wiley 11, and Will Shipley at 12. So that's kind of where I sit right there. And I just kind of gave away the ranking for the next guy we're going to talk about. So that's great on me.
Well, that's okay. Michael Wiley started the season gangbusters. I mean, 6 receptions, 57 yards, 8 receptions, 60 yards. And then he kind of slowed down and he got hurt. And then when he came back, he did have a 5-reception, 68-yard game. So, I mean, the pass catching ability is apparent. The frame is there. I'm excited to see his athletic ability in Indianapolis. And then we can start putting together the narratives, putting together the puzzle on the prospect. But let's get right into it. You mentioned him. Ray Davis, that's the last guy we're going to talk about here today from your list. Tell us why Ray Davis is one of your sleepers heading into the 2024 rookie drafts.
Ray Davis, another Senior Bowler, 5'8.5", 220 pounds. He's 24 years old. He's going to be 25 in November, which is brutal for this context, but he's likely to be a 6th round, 7th round NFL pick. I compared him to Jerick McKinnon. Now, Jerick McKinnon. Yeah, so Jerick McKinnon was, I think, 213 or 217 or something like this, but Davis is 220. He's a little more squatty, less abby than he is. He's more keggy than he is abby, if that makes sense. More keggy than six-packy.
Yeah, more of a keg than a six-pack.
I got a 4.47 on Ray Davis. I put him with the last pick, or the second to last pick in this mock draft 4.0 round 4, just for fun. I put him at 134 to the Baltimore Ravens. I think that's a very interesting spot. Ray Davis times Keaton Mitchell would be very fun. 3-star prospect in 2019, went to Temple, almost hit a rack, went to Vanderbilt, hit a rack, went to Kentucky, hit a rack. He's had 2 1,000-yard rushing seasons in the SEC for 2 separate teams, 2 of the worst teams in the SEC to boot. So I think he's a good running back, somebody that for fantasy directly, I am going to just, it's like, the dustpan at the McDonald's when, you dump a bunch of fries on the ground and some little kid dumps a bunch of fries and McNuggies on the ground. And you're the custodian. You got to come up and wipe it up. And you're just like, oh, there's 10 nuggets. All right, cool. I'm in 10 drafts and I got 10 5th-round picks, and I'm just going to sweep up all of these Ray Davis nuggets into my bucket and walk away with all of them. That's just how it's going to be. I'm just going to walk away with all of them in every draft, Ray Davis, because I think it's a guy that going to be 25 years old, don't care. 220,
That position you don't care.
soft hands, can make defenders miss in a phone booth, can run the next defender over, good patience, 11th in the country in yards after contact, strong vision, literally first team all SEC rusher in 2023. This is a good running back. This is a muscle hamster. 99th graded pass blocking running back. Not good. He's a 2-down back. That's what he is with catching ability. I like Ray Davis a lot. And like I said, I think it's going to be a guy you're going to get probably 5th round running back, which is what I want to target. I want to target running backs in the 5th round of my fantasy drafts. Ray Davis, though, every time.
Chris Rodriguez was fantasy relevant for a couple weeks. Ray Davis can absolutely be fantasy relevant. He is a good producer. I mean, 1,000 yards from scrimmage, 3 years of his college career at 3 different schools. That's rare in and of itself. Tough kid, tough background. So he's going to be mentally tough, mentally prepared for the NFL. Chicken McNuggets. I never thought of that. But if you leave your chicken McNuggets on the ground, Cody Carpentier will sweep it up. And for you guys listening, Cody was not saying that Ray Davis went to the Middle Eastern country of Iraq. He was saying he got Iraq. He hit Iraq 1,000 yards. It wasn't that Ray Davis spent time in the war-torn country of Iraq. He
got Iraq. He got Iraq. He got Iraq.
He did not go to Iraq. He hit Iraq. Just to clarify. But Ray Davis, I think he's becoming a darling to some. And I think a lot of that has to do with the size. You see a guy who's 5'10", 220. You see him on the field. He looks like Michael Turney. He looks like a freaking house. But at the running back position, we need these sleepers more than ever because these are the guys that pop. Is there – I know it's tough, but you were talking about a late-round draft guy. Is there a particular spot that would make you go, maybe he might be a 4th-round McNugget, not a 5th-round McNugget?
In fantasy? But like you're talking about NFL landing spot, making him be that in
an NFL landing spot. Let's not push him into the 5th round or the 4th round. Let's say he goes 6th, he goes 7th, he goes undrafted, but he goes to this team. I want him in the 4th. I don't care. I'm not waiting to the 5th.
Baltimore 100% with Keaton Mitchell. Houston is interesting with Singletary leaving, and if Houston were to do it, because they trust him more than they trust Dameon Pierce. That would suck also, but be interesting. Cincinnati. The rumors they're going to get rid of Mixon. If they rolled out Ray Davis with Chase Brown, that would be interesting. So, yeah, those are probably the 3.
Yeah, you want him on a team that will go to the running backs on 1st and 2nd down, keep him on the field to rack up those yards in the beginning. So that's what we want from Mr. Ray Davis. I'm going to actually – you got something to say? You look like you got something to say.
I was just going to say, can I just give a shout out to Raider Nation quick? Shout out to all of you guys. I love the comments on my mock draft. It's much appreciated. And yeah, just stick it.
Stick it. Put it in your Raider pipe and schmuck it. Before I get you out of here, we didn't talk any quarterback. We didn't talk any tight end. Any guys in those positions that you want to bring up as sleepers? Just quick 15, 30-second boom, boom, these guys would be. Or is that those positions just too tough for sleepers? Because we got 6 quarterbacks we're going to be excited about in Superflex, maybe 7. And we only got 2 tight ends. So it's tough to kind of gauge sleepers when the positional group looks like that. But are there any that we should put on our radar?
I'll give you one at each position. Everybody knows who Spencer Rattler is. But if that draft capital does come to fruition and he does end up in round, early mid-round 3 or late round 2, I put him in Denver. I would love him to be in a situation like Denver with a Sean Payton grooming him. Again, everyone get rid of your take lock on Spencer Rattler. Come around the corner, realize that he's mature. He might not be the next
He's
Mahomes.
not the kid that was on the Netflix show.
He might not be this prolific, top 5 quarterback that he was hyped up to be at QB1 show 7 years ago. But he very much can get himself into the Carr and Cousins conversation. He can get himself up there in the NFL. And with a Sean Payton, I think it happens faster than not. At tight end, I'm just going to keep on hitting this Jaheim Bell thing. People, I've heard Stover, I've heard AJ Barner, I've heard Theo Johnson, but Jaheim Bell, man, Jaheim Bell, man, you just put him on a team and he can run the ball and he can catch the ball with the best.
Bro.
This guy just reminds me of a mixture of Chiga Conquo and David Njoku, man. This guy's going to be a very good pro, man. And I want this guy on my team every time. Jaheim Bell at Florida State, man.
Jaheim, I will say this one thing about Jaheim Bell. He was the number 3 tight end in this in this projected class of tight ends a couple years ago. Going into his season at Florida State, we thought Jaheim Bell was going to break out and be cemented as the tight end 3, push for tight end 2 in this class. And so now with the capital kind of falling, that's getting people scared. But with fallen draft capital comes better landing spots, better usage of teams, smarter teams, winning teams. Jaheim Bell going, late in the 2nd or 3rd round, 4th round, might not be all that bad. Someone we can scoop up in our tight end premium rookie drafts. Cody, you are the man. Thank you for giving the game planners tuning in your quick list of some 2024 rookie sleepers, a little kiss of the bicep for you audio-only listeners. But the floor is yours. Promote everything you got. We just kind of did a little bit at the top of the show, but here's your time to land the bird, talk about all the stuff you got in the works, all the things you got cooking.
Mock Draft 4.0, RosterWatch.com. Top 25 wide receiver rankings, RosterWatch.com. Just launched a brand new website. It's not live yet, but you can go over there, get accustomed to the name, the draft rankings. You can type it in on Twitter at the draft ranking, thedraftrankings.com. That is a build off of our Patreon, which is the Executives of Fantasy Football, patreon.com/executives. That's a lot to digest right there, but patreon.com/executives. But you can also get there by just typing in thedraftrankings.com.
Let's go. And I am a part of those executive talks. So Cody already plugged me there. Thanks for the alley-oop. I love it. But make sure you're subscribed to the Player Profile YouTube channel and like this video. Leave a comment. Let us know what we got right, what you hate. Tell us why Raider Nation is just up in arms about Cody's mock 4.0. Check out my mock.
They love
2.0.
them some Alex Leatherwood and some Tyree Wilson, though. You can have you have it, brother. Have it. I love Tyree Wilson and Alex Leatherwood. 2
grade A certified busts right there. So you can have those guys. The AP area is here, so maybe it gets a little better for the Raiders. But it obviously is going to continue to get better as long as you keep tuning in to the game plan, all the shows we have at Player Profiler. I'm back in full swing. Futurecast, Blue Chips, The Hurdle on Tuesdays with Cody, game plan, of course, and Trade Gods with Jason Allen. I'm just going to be out and about. Cody and I will be in Indianapolis for the Combine, tearing shit up there. I will be there. There will be no switching of plans. I will be there. And you need to
book them flights. Book them flights.
Oh, the flights are booked, baby. Let's rock and roll. I will be there. And I will see you guys on the next episode of the game plan, baby. Peace.
Hey, I want to take a moment to thank you for tuning in. It's important to me that all of our media be free. This is only possible because of you allowing a true independent sports media enterprise to thrive unlike any other in the business. So please subscribe to the All In Package to continue to make all this possible, to ensure that all of our stats, information, data, content is available to you, especially you, the people that get the site and get the show.